Okay, we got some fun you buying that. So Sam Amick, shout out, had an article, and in it, Giannis said, quote, "Winning is better than intimacy." First of all, I love how, evolved we are. I'm calling it intimacy.
Yeah.
But are you buying that?
No, I'm not. And listen, I love winning, and I love coaches say you gotta hate to lose more than you love to win. Sure, fine. Like I hate losing.
Hold on, we're talking about winning like everything, the whole big.
Are we talking about like a
enchilada.
game last
Not
night
like
or the
daily.
intimacy last night? Or are we talking about a championship? Like, what are we talking about?
Okay, let me ask you this. You can get a championship, but you can't have, I'm sorry, you can't be intimate for a year.
No.
Really?
No chance. No chance.
Easy, yes.
For you, you'd rather the championship?
Easily. I could do that without winning anything. That's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I guess you can still do it when you lose, so sure. Probably better. It's actually better.
You
when
wouldn't
lose.
give it up. How about 6
More
months?
angry when you
Let me
lose.
see.
There's different kinds of it. Let me tell you about different
Have you
kinds
seen Bull
of it.
Durham? You got to channel the energy.
There's different kinds of love.
Also, he's got like what, 4 children, 5? Like, clearly.
Yeah, and he likes to be silly with these kind of
But I do,
comments, so,
intimacy
but it's
makes me giggle. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. I don't know. I think that's actually, as much as I'm laughing and giggling, it's a legitimate thing.
Winning
to
feels
talk
better.
about.
Like, what are we doing?
Winning but winning a championship, like having the parade, forever you're a champ. All you have to do is sacrifice it for a year.
But why? No, I don't want to do that.
God, you're the worst.
I don't want to do that.
You know what? You're a loser at heart, Chandler.
Yeah, maybe. Fine. That makes me a loser. I'll be a loser.
This is why you never got out of the first
Yeah,
round. This
that's
is
it.
all starting to
I
make
told you that
sense
in
to me.
confidence.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they can look it up. All right, LeBron said, I got a lot of Giannis in this one today, that if Giannis played in the 70s, he'd have 250 points in a game. Even every time I say it, it's funny. You buying that, first of all?
Listen, I'm a big era guy, and I think today the game evolves. I think guys are better. They're more fit. They're stronger. They're more athletic. 250 points is outrageous. Now, do I think he could possibly make a run at Wilt's record and have over 100 back in the day? Yes, I think they would arrest him if they saw Giannis in the 70s and do what he did against those guys. So I think it's a whole different level. It's a whole different level of athleticism and resources and medical advances we have now. It's not even a fair argument, but no, I'm not buying that he could have 250, but yes, I'm buying that he could possibly have over 100.
Okay, but what about
multiple guys I think could do that.
But Chris Russo, one of my other bosses, said that Giannis isn't even in the same ballpark as Julius Erving. See, this is where you start to lose. These era arguments are tough.
Yeah, and everyone has their opinion,
I
and
know.
usually it's generational based and when you grew up and who you watched and nostalgia and all those things. So like, yeah, was Julius Erving great for his time? 100%. Is Giannis great for his time? 100%. I know I could drop Giannis in the 70s and him be very, very good.
Okay.
I don't know how much better Julius Erving would be if we dropped him in the 2025.
Why do you say that?
Right now. Just because of the advances and the evolution and the speed and the athleticism. Again, I know their biggest argument is the difference of the fouls and the physicality.
Yeah,
is different,
how you could play.
which is also fair. But I'm pretty sure if guys are bigger, stronger, faster now, they could handle the physicality back then.
Could they? Because there's a lot of crying.
Listen, and you think, oh, they think our generation is soft because of how the game is called now. That's not true. I think Giannis is a freak. His name is the Greek freak. You don't think he could dominate any era?
I know, I do. It's sometimes these arguments, there's no.
And again, this is a lose-lose because you're not just
Right.
gonna like Julius Erving's unbelievable, and he is iconic, and he is innovative, and the things he was doing was way above his time. Now, I don't know if he would do that with Lou Dort hawking him 94 feet. You know what I mean? I don't know if they would do that the way the game is officiated now. I know you drop Giannis in the 70s, he is absolutely dominant.
Have we always done this? Like, look, I was younger, so I probably wouldn't have paid attention even if they had. But in the 80s and 90s, were the stars then talking about what they could and could not do?
Yeah, I don't think MJ was like, I'd be so much better in the
Right?
60s.
Like, why do we do this?
I just think it's a competitive thing. I think it's all generational. I think there's certain players, too, that are timeless, that are generational. Like,
Yeah.
you could put Shaq in any era. He's unbelievable. Now, granted, he'd get fouled a lot today, and he'd shoot a lot more free throws, and it would be kind of a liability on that aspect.
That'd be an issue. You'd have
But
to
he
work
would
on it.
dominate. The Tim Duncans, the MJs, the Kobes, they would be good in every single era. There are certain eras where I don't know if it would correlate,
Okay.
good.
It's just a funny thing. It's daily.
But yeah, I don't remember them being like, oh, Larry Bird would have destroyed the 50s.
I would have
Like,
crushed that, dude.
I feel like that wasn't an
remember that.
argument back in the day.
It really, and maybe it wasn't because we don't have tons and tons of streaming.
Well,
ways
also, I
to
think it a
read.
lot has to do with like the financial, what these guys are making now. Like, can you imagine if we were making that and what, you know what I mean? I think it's almost a little bit of a jealousy type of thing with the generation now.
Yeah, but I think in return, I think the generation now also poo-poos a lot on the past, and I feel like if anybody shouldn't do that, it should be the Nows.
Yeah.
Like, you should be like, wow, they paved the way, A, and B, holy crap, look how awesome our lives are now.
100%. And those
so I don't
guys,
get it.
yeah, I don't like it when they're over the top disrespectful. Like,
Yeah.
like saying 250 points in a game, like that's outrageous.
I mean, I get it. He's whatever. There's a little bit of levity in that.
And that's a little exaggerating. I think he's exaggerating a bit, but like I do think he would have a statue in front of the arena.
Yeah.
But he's going to be that already now. So of course he would be that.
Also, why is everyone talking so much about Giannis?
Also, why didn't you say he would have 250? If Giannis would, how many would he have?
Because he's humble. God. Carlos Boozer said it's in the Suns' best interest to keep KD and Booker together. This is going to be an interesting offseason, Chandler. Are you buying that?
No, just because I think this team has just failed, and I just think this team didn't reach their potential. And whether that was the other moves, whether that was the chemistry between these two, whether it was the kind of the disappointing year from Bradley Beal, supposed to be that third piece, for whatever reason, this team didn't work. It doesn't work. They're god awful defensively, so I don't know if they could bring in other guys to kind of make this mesh well, but. Sure, would I like to see Kevin Durant stay there and kind of build something and finish his career in the same place and not go to a team that's really good? Yeah, sure, but I just think this team has just been such a disappointment where it's going to get blown up. There's going to be moves made. Who knows what happens with Bradley Beal and his no trade clause, but I can't see this team going back together next year. Imagine if this team, the same team, and they start off 2-5, and they got to do this whole thing again, this whole song and dance next season.
Bradley Beal, look, I know he's not thinking this at all. I'm just thinking of it as myself outside looking in. But what a weird situation. Now, we would all kill to have a no trade clause in any deal that we have with any company. But it may ultimately be that they end up having to move Devin Booker and KD.
He might be the only one back.
Because they can't move
Yeah,
Beal. But don't, like, just as yourself, what an awkward feeling, for the fans, for everyone. He's not going to care. Like you said, he's getting paid, he's happy, he's good, but that's weird.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this no trade clause. And I don't think they'll be handed out as loosely as they were with this, but yeah, that could be an awkward situation where he just forces his way back and
sorry, you're stuck with
KD
me.
ends up getting shipped off and Booker gets shipped off and he's the last remaining guy just because simply the no trade clause. It definitely could be a little weird.
Because I'm old enough to remember when Booker wasn't even talked about being moved, and now here we are, just willy-nilly.
It's like if you're moving Book, it's full-blown rebuild, tank. Like he's the foundational piece. He's your baby that you drafted. He's been there the longest. If you're getting off him, it's tank mode.
Dang. Chris Mannix over at SI believes that Kevin Durant wants to be in Houston. That's where he would like to end up. That he could be the missing piece to them being title contenders. And so I'm wondering, we've talked a lot about Houston and how great they've become and the road they're on. Would he make them an instant contender?
I think he would. And I think it is a great fit. I think they're young enough and they have a great duo that would obviously stay with Jalen Green and Sengun. He would be that awesome, third option, or he wouldn't be the third option, he'd probably be the first option, but he'd be the third guy to the big three. They do also have a lot of picks. They have a lot of assets that are interesting for Phoenix, where if they are going to go on that rebuilding, way, do they go get a Jabari Smith? Do they go get a Reed Shepherd? Do they go get, the Thompson twin? Like there's a lot of pieces that the Suns would find interesting in this move. And again, when you trade for a Kevin Durant, this is a win now. Let's maximize this duo we have. We already paid them. We know they're here with us. Let's add one of the greatest scorers of all time who's got a small window to win right now. I'd love it. It'd be a great fit.
I mean, look.
And I don't think he'd get murdered either for being like going to a super team.
But also, KD, just keep in mind, it's a quick 3-hour drive. If you just want to head up to San Antonio, that's also an option for you, something you might want to consider.
Also
Same great tax breaks that you're looking to get. Yeah, just throwing it out there, buddy. Gilbert Arenas said Paul George is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a 9-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA. Are you buying that?
First ballot, I don't know. I think he ends up getting in. I love Paul George, one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite people. I love him, but
nice.
I think a guy like Blake Griffin should get in before him. And I think that there's there's certain resumes also that aren't as good as Paul George, and they're in the Hall of Fame. So so the Hall of Fame, it's always kind of been interesting to me. What is the actual? What are we voting for? How are we getting him in? But Paul George is a generational talent. He's unbelievable. I think that championships matter a lot. So if he's one of these guys that Philly wins a championship next year, I think that's like a stamp of approval.
Did you pause subconsciously when you said that?
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Okay,
I think championships are valued a lot when you go to the Hall of Fame.
All right,
he doesn't have one.
He doesn't have one. Dwight Howard, by the way, just inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame, but he is he's a finalist for 2025. So are you buying him as a first ballot guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Dwight Howard was the best center and one of the best players in the NBA for 10 straight years. He dominated. He made those runs. He's also, it's just funny, he's a champion, but he's a champion on LA, not even on Orlando, where
Weirdly.
he was unbelievable. Being from Orlando, he completely changed that city, the franchise. That team was so much fun with him and Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson and Rashad Lewis. That team was great, and he was everything. Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, one of the best defending big men of all time. I think we forget quickly how good, how dominant this dude was. He's first
because
ballot
things
for sure.
happen. Got to remember, like, perspective is like you are talking all of the basketball stuff, but people also then have consumed so much Dwight Howard, you know, Dancing with the Stars. Now he's doing all these crazy little videos. Like, people change who we think they are.
It's
and
a little
forget.
distracting, I guess, but that doesn't
okay.
change the fact how good he was.
No, and the people who are in charge of making this happen, they know better. Taking a quick break, a little more coming up, including Steph, the best player ever.
Whoa.
I know, it's running back. Run it up. Ooh, we got some more to talk about. We were just saying in the break, the Detroit Pistons are my favorite team to watch. That's not San Antonio, obviously. And Draymond now saying that Cade Cunningham will bring a championship back to Detroit. Are you buying that?
I am hopeful. Yeah, there's so many good young teams. The Cavs aren't going anywhere. The Thunder aren't going anywhere. The Spurs are on the rise. The Rockets are a good young team. And again, the Celtics, Nuggets teams, like these vet teams, also aren't going anywhere. So it's a tall task. I think he's good enough to be a 1A player on a championship team. I think JB Bickerstaff is a championship level coach, and I think they have found something here. They've created a culture, they've created a DNA. I think people will want to go and play with Cade Cunningham in free agency. There'll be vets that want to take less money to go and be a part of what they're building over there. So I do think they are building something absolutely special, and I hope they do, because I couldn't be a bigger Cade fan. I could not be a bigger JB Bickerstaff fan.
I thought about this some more yesterday, right? So Cleveland's won 2 in a row, Detroit's won 2 in a row. Cleveland's got 10 games left, Detroit's got 9 games left. Let's just say Cleveland loses 8 of their next 10 and Detroit wins most of theirs. Do the voters have to be open-minded enough to be like, you know, maybe JB Bickerstaff should be Coach of the Year?
They should be, and just like the MVP voting, I think it's already over. You know what I mean? I think the voters
But what if
already
that
have.
happens?
Yeah, like if the Cavs go 2-8 and the Pistons go 8-2, I still think the Cavs had such an impactful, such a promising start, and basically a very good consistent season up until the last couple of weeks where they kind of laid an egg a little bit, but they were on a historic pace. We're talking about comparing them to those LeBron, Kyrie teams. They were about to break a franchise record. Everyone thought the big bad Celtics were going to be the best team in the East. It's not, the Cavs are the #1
What if
seed.
they dropped?
So again, I think if the voters are being fair, and they should see it all the way through, because you can't overlook what JB has done in Detroit. I've said this all year long. Everyone knew Cleveland was going to be good. Everyone knew they had talent. Everyone knew they had great guard play, great bigs. Nobody knew the Pistons were going to be good. Nobody thought they were going to be this competitive. And we're talking about they were tough out in the playoffs against a team like the Knicks or the Pacers, whoever it's not just a fool's gold during a season. This team has created something serious, and I think JB Bickerstaff, unfortunately, I don't think he'll win Coach of the Year, but man, he has a really good shot.
And why don't we ever talk about Dagnall in OKC? We just completely dismiss that altogether.
Yeah, he's got to be up there in the top 3 with those 2 guys.
Never ever, and like we don't mention it. That's weird to me.
Again, what are we voting for? Are we voting for the best team? Are we like the best turnaround? Like, I think JB Bickerstaff has probably done the best job of getting this team to play. Again, Mark Dagnall and their job's a little easier. They have a boatload of talent. They have the infrastructure of a championship team right now. So they're coaching great teams that are supposed to be contenders. JB's coaching a team that's surprised everybody.
If I
so
had
what are you voting for?
I would really have to think about the JB Bickerstaff by my own personal definition of what it means.
Yeah.
Because the turnaround to me is part of being a great coach.
It's also interesting, like JB, though, on the flip side, was just the coach of the Cavs, and they weren't as good. You know what I mean? So, like, as much as I love JB, it's
maybe
tough.
He's a guy that needs like the challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea, but I think it's worth talking about. Victor Oladipo considers Steph Curry the best player ever, because he changed the game completely. Are you buying that?
I'm not. I think he's the best point guard ever. I think he's the top 10 player of all time. I think he's unbelievable. And Victor's right. He is innovative. He has changed the game. The way kids look at basketball, the kids want to play basketball, how everyone has to shoot threes now. Just look at the NBA now. It's up and down. It's fast. The Celtics are shooting, 60+ threes on any given night. It's because of the Warriors and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson of how they kind of kickstarted this and did it. But best player of all time, I mean, we always do this list. There's so many greats out there. I think best player of all time is a stretch, but he's the best point guard and the best shooter of all time.
When we say best player ever, too, like how much of that needs to be both sides of the ball? Because I feel like sometimes we only talk about the sexy offense.
Yeah, it counts. You got to be the most, to be talked in the same sentence as MJ and LeBron and Kareem and those guys. They dominated both sides of the ball. They have, defensive, accolades to go along with that.
Yeah.
So that is tough. Again, we're talking about the greatest shooter, the greatest point guard, which is arguably some people would say Magic. So, I mean, so there's a debate for that too. But it does count. You have to be elite on both sides to be the best of all time.
Speaking of, Pat Bev said that nobody's afraid of the Cavs. He went on to say it's because Garland and Mitchell aren't going to play defense. They won't. And that's what wins championships, and offense sells tickets. So are you buying that nobody's afraid of the Cavs?
I think that was the narrative early. I think everyone was kind of surprised. I think everyone thought, okay, when are they going to fall off? And now with recent struggles, it's kind of validating that a little bit. Like, of course, if you had to pick any team in the Eastern Conference right now had to choose, who do you want to play in the finals, the Celtics or the Cavs? Everyone would rather play the Cavs, even though they're 4.5 games behind. The Celtics are a better team. They're a more complete team. They're the best starting five. I think they're experienced. They have it all. Now, I think the Cavs are no slouch. The Cavs are legit. The Cavs have it all too. They are so deep. They have great shooting off the bench. Evan Mobley's jump he's made has been super impressive. So they got guys that are kind of having coming out type of years that we've never even talked about before that have been extremely productive.
Like Ty Jerome.
Like Ty Jerome, like the Merrill. Max Strus has been great for them when he's healthy. So, again, it's not. I don't think we're scared of them. He's right though. Like I'd be scared to play to the Celtics. I think we can beat the Cavs if I'm on one of these other teams.
Man, it's like I just can't wait. Just hurry up. Let's get there. Magic Johnson believes. See, we're just talking about eras. NBA stars sitting out for load management is negatively impacting the ratings, and that hey, MJ would never do that. He didn't sit out. He played every game. You buying that?
Again, if MJ played this season, he would, because it's above his head, and there's medical experts that would literally make him sit out.
You think someone could make Michael Jordan sit out?
I do, and I just think that's the way of the game now. I think it's the way of science and medical, and you're preserving yourself for when it matters the most. Do I think it's great? No. I think it's sad also when a Western Conference team goes to Orlando, and that's the one chance a kid gets to see his favorite player, and he decides to sit out because he played the night before. I do think there has got to be a balance of it, but again, I don't think what people understand is there's so many medical people. Like there's a trainer, there's a strength coach, there's a medical director, then there's a guy above him. There's so many positions now where everything is so data driven and analytical, and it's most of the time it's out of a player's hands. Now look, if it's game 7, I'm saying, screw you guys, I'm playing, that's different. If Joel Embiid right now in November, it's like, I'm playing tonight, they will say, no, you are not. There's levels of opinions.
What would happen if he showed up, put his uniform on, and went out there anyway?
I mean, I don't know, he'd get fined or he'd
drag him back to the locker room.
But yeah, a lot of times this is out of the player's jurisdiction.
It is hard to imagine a world, though, who's telling Michael Jordan, no, sorry, dude, you're not playing. It's fun to think about, but it's also hard to imagine.